He is back. Fastidious returns from the realm of the spender to the free-to-play world to share the wisdom that he has learned. Welcome back, Fastidious. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me. It's always a great time.
All right, we've been practicing this. Are you ready to take us out?
Can I do it?
Yeah. Here, go ahead.
I am Fastidious. That is Cole Red. This is Cole Red Plays. Let's get started.
Let's get down to business. Let's actually talk some Raid Shadow Legends. So first of all, for those of you who don't know, Fastidious, as a content creator, the first time around for Raid, way back in like 2021? Is that when you were here?
Precisely, yeah.
Okay. You were a spender for like a period of time, and then you went free to play like for the last year or something?
Actually, no. So I started playing Raid in 2019, and I
Okay.
spent for about 6 months. And
Okay.
I was like, I can't do this. Like, I spent like $2,700, I think, in like 7 months, 6 or 7 months. And
Okay.
I was like, I'm never gonna spend again, and never spent on Raid again. Spent a little on a couple other games, but probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I decided I would never spend again. And I play everything fully free to play, including my other games. The only reason I spend in Raid is because I'm a sponsored channel.
Right.
So I like it's kind of like they're paying me, so I'll pay a little in the game for content. You know, it's like symbiotic for the job. But no, I'm like I got that heart of the free to play. It's been how long has it been? 4 years, probably strict free to play across everything at this point.
Okay.
But I am spending a decent bit right now in the past 4 months in Raid. Have like 3.5 months of spending under my belt. I think my budget left for this month is $80 for June.
So what you have here is a man who has experience as a spender, spending his own money, and then has a lot of free-to-play experience, including your Watcher of Realms, where you're a big fish and you are totally free-to-play over there. But then you came back to Raid. What's that?
Sorry, in case we have crossover, people hate when I say I'm free to play in Watcher Realms, and I always add the caveat because I get a lot of content creator rewards. A lot.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but I was free to play well before them, and I haven't spent. But that is a caveat needed to be made.
On this channel, that's free to play. That's like God tier free to play. That's all that is. If they're paying you to play their game, you can't be more free to play than that. But
that's what I say. I'm like, it's not pay to win; it's paid to win.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I will say this, like, it's good to let people know that. But my point not being whether you're free to play or not in terms of like the letter of the law, but rather that you have experience both in the world of spending and in the world of free to play. And specifically recently with your new channel, your new Raid channel, you have set a budget, right? Ballin' on a Budget is the series. What is the budget that you're currently working with for? Yeah, tell people about that account, how old it is, how much you've spent, and what your budget is.
I just passed my 4th month in Raid, which means this is my 4 months in Raid, which means this is my 5th month. So I started the first week of February. The rule for the account is balling on a budget. We took that first month to figure out what's a good budget in Raid. A bunch of viewers voted. I tried it out. We started at 75. $75 does not get you much, especially for content creation in Raid. So we took a new vote. We settled at 150, and I've been at 150 since March. A lot of people said you're just going to increase it every month, but March, April, May, and now into June, I'm halfway done. A little less than halfway done with my spending in June. And I'll tell you, that's kind of how I think about it, just to get that out of the way. You got to be really diligent about what you do with your purchases. And sometimes I get stressed out at the end of the month because I haven't spent enough. So I added a rule where I could roll over $15. So I'm a little under budget every month. It's hard to get exactly to 150.
Right.
But I've never been over 150. Yeah.
Okay. So grand total, what have you spent so far?
I have spent $588. So yeah. So if it was, yeah. Sorry.
$588. All right, so this is really interesting to me because as a free-to-play player, I don't have the best grasp on this, and I do debate this topic with my community every once in a while. But for you and your community, what does that feel like in terms of categorization? Would you say that's a low spender, a mid spender, moderate spender? Is that a small whale? Like what are you in terms of, the pantheon of spenders?
What do I think, or what do people think?
What do you think, and then what does your community think? I want to hear
I'm
this.
like a dolphin. I spend over $100 a month, right?
Okay.
So I'll just tell you, month 1 was 75, then 150, 135, 158, and I've already spent $70 this month.
Okay.
So to me, that feels like a large sum of money in 124 days to me.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people call me a low spender in my comments. Yeah,
Yeah, they
a
call
lot
you a
of people
low
say that.
spender. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot. I'm assuming those are big spenders calling me a low spender. I guess the polite term maybe is moderate spender. I think
Yeah.
calling $150 like for depending on the game over two AAAs a month low is kind of crazy. So yeah, but I mean, but I think a lot of people define whale as something pretty major. So calling me dolphin might be an insult to dolphins that are proud of their spending. I don't know. I guess gun to my head, I'd say moderate. Some people say low. If I in outside of the raid world, it's a lot of money. Whale, dolphin,
Right.
something like that. I don't know.
All right. So real quickly in the comments below before we debate this too far, go ahead and let me know what you think $150 a month is in terms of raid spending. What would you categorize that as? Is that low spend, mid spend, moderate spend? Is it a dolphin? Is it a, what do you think? Because I'm really curious about this. Personally, to me, as a person who has spent on games before, like in the past, and but doesn't spend here and has played a lot of free to play games, $150 a month, which is $1,800 a year, that
Yeah,
feels like a significant spend. I would not call that low spend. I could not conceivably call that low spend. I don't know that it's a whale only because like maybe 5 or 10 years ago I would have said that's a whale, but only because I know people have spent $500,000 on their raid account. So it's like, $1,800 doesn't seem like that much in
yeah.
comparison, but that seems like the absurd outlier. For the majority of gamers, I think over $100 a month is a pretty big spend. That's just the way I feel about it. Like you can get a WoW, subscription for what, like $15 a month, so 150 is 10 times a WoW subscription for a mobile game, and that seems like a lot to me. But again, people can spend what they want, and I guess, that would be my next question. How do you feel about like the debate around how much people spend? Do you feel like maybe we shouldn't have that debate? Do you think we need to have more transparency? Or is it something that you found is contentious within your community?
I think I love the discussion about it. I think being a debate, unless you're sincerely concerned someone's spending with that, like beyond their means and they're
Yeah.
hurting their life, who cares? I just did the math, so I'm on day 124, so it comes out to $4.74 a day, which is
Mm.
less than I spend on coffee when I pick up coffee. I spend about $6 because coffee is expensive. So I think going out to coffee is like a luxury purchase, right, to start your
Right.
day. It's something I like to do, I can afford to do, and I don't do many other things. So if you're the kind of person where that's also raid, I think that's pretty reasonable. But on the same token, I think there's probably people that spend $150 a month on rent or less, depending
Yeah.
on where they live. So it's all relative. I think I'm a big fan of not spending. It's what I do. I'm doing this kind of as an experiment and kind of because it's like a sponsored channel and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like a new thing for me. But I'm also a big fan of people spending if they can afford it and they want to, and it's going to bring them joy. I'm not a fan of people spending and they're overextending themselves and then they're bagsing out a credit card or neglecting to eat dinner that day, something crazy. I've heard stories like that. I just
Right.
won't have lunch and I'll buy this pack. What are you talking about? And then I'm also not a fan of people spending thinking it's going to give them something.
Yeah.
uh
Right.
like, you need to spend knowing you're ripping the slot machine, but I know a lot of people that spend an ungodly sum of money, but they know all that stuff, and I completely believe in it because 'cause
Yeah.
they're supremely successful, they have the money to spend, and they're the ones allowing this game to exist, and then people like you get to or me forever, get to enjoy the game for free. I have another account that I'm partnered with where I do all the live arena. I'm like driving it, but we do all the planning together. It's kind of like a partnership account, but I would never fully say it's partnership because he's put tens of thousands of dollars into that account. He started right around the same time as me. It's very cool to have that comparison, by the way.
Yeah.
The difference between $150 and a lot more than that a month,
Yeah.
$150 a day, that kind of thing. But yeah, but I know him personally now, and it's just such a non-issue. And then people judge him in the comments because I pull for him all the time, and I'm like, dude, this guy's how you're playing the game. The game wouldn't exist without guys like this. Full stop.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of people doing what it takes to bring them joy in the game. I couldn't have fun spending because I know I've pulled on a million accounts across a million games. I know what's going to happen. But when it's a strict budget, that's a fun challenge to me. So I'm enjoying that right now. And then when it's free to play, it's just it all feels earned, whether it should be or not. So that's kind of where I lie. But Yeah, that
I,
answers
I
some of the
think I
questions.
think that's a very good way of putting it. I think you said it eloquently. Like I believe in people find like I want people to find joy in their gaming. Like I 100% agree with that statement. It's something that I've said here on the channel frequently. And we all need to game in the way that brings us joy individually. And for some of us, that's not spending. For some of us, that's spending. But the thing that concerns me is not so much the individual spending habits of any person compared to my own, but rather for them, right? Like, how is it for them?
Exactly. Yeah.
And the thing that concerns me the most is actually the industry, like the gaming industry, and how it empowers people to spend in unhealthy ways, right? Like it actually, like
Undoubtedly,
gotcha games,
mirrors
you could,
the reality.
yeah, like there are companies, games that are designed specifically to separate you from your money in unhealthy ways.
Exactly.
And as a gamer, that pisses me off. Not for me because I'm free to play, but for my fellow gamers, you know? And again, if there's somebody who's spending $10,000 a month and that's well within their budget and it makes them happy, then fine. Because like you said, without spenders, free to play players don't have a game to play. But okay, so
Exactly.
I don't want to debate that too much because we've talked about that a lot on
Can I
this
make
channel.
one
What,
quick comment?
yeah,
Sorry,
sure, sure. Go
just
ahead.
very quickly. To separate from the money, people can think of it as a casino, right? Like, why do you have to get a premium currency? Why do you have to get chips? It's a lot easier to rip the summon than to put 20 bucks in and do the summon, right?
Yeah,
It's a lot easier to put all your chips in than to think I'm pushing in my rent.
right.
So that's something you should always be conscious of. So the reason I went such strict free to play, and I'm playing a new game right now, Etheria, and they have incredible packs for $1, like 20 pulls for $1. The reason I'm not going to do that is because I've proven to myself in a negative way, but now I'm aware of it, that the second I open the door, I've made bad decisions. So I don't even want to have one crack in the
Right.
door. That's why
Yeah.
I believe in free to play. But I think for a lot of people, if you can control it, it's better to spend a little. You can get a lot of peace of mind. So instead of staying up till 3 a.m. to finish the fusion, you could probably spend 10 bucks and be done. A lot of people can afford to spend 10 bucks, but it's all about mentality and what you can deal with personally. And that's going to lead to join the game.
Yeah, and people who watch my channel know like I've talked about my experience in the past with Magic the Gathering, and I've spent probably between 20 and $25,000 on Magic the Gathering over the years. It was really in like two batches. You know, it was like I did it in 2 years and then I stopped playing for like 7 and then in like a year, you know, so it's like I spent like 10 grand and then I spent another like 12 grand and I was like that's crazy to me for me. You know, like somebody else could
Yeah.
do that and get, but it was like when you're making $45,000 to spend $10,000 on a card game, it is insane. And so I knew for myself that was a bad decision and I had to stop playing that game and other games that encourage the same kind of spending. Which is funny that I landed here in a game that does encourage that, but I've been able to maintain myself as free to play for 4 years now. But here's the thing, not all of my viewers are free to play players. We've talked about this a lot on the channel, and one of the things that I don't know basically anything about is value in this game outside of, you know, just the free to play value. And you've done this experiment, and as somebody who has a lot of free to play experience and has been
Yeah.
doing this recent spending experience, I'm extremely interested to hear your opinion on where the value is in this game for spenders. Like, what purchases have you made that are really good, and what purchases are you like, don't ever do this? And maybe even ranking the different, you know, the packs or something.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
funny enough, I rate all my purchases. So I've done a
all right, great.
check-in after 2 months, and I actually have in a couple days if people are interested to check it out, check-in for my month 3 and month 4 now that we just finished month 4. And I've rated every purchase I've had. So I could take you through all of it, or I could just point out the best and the worst, whatever you think you want to do.
So let me
Or I could
first
tell you my general philosophy that I've developed.
yeah, I definitely want to get to that, but let me just start here because I'm actually curious because I've heard that the packs that you get offered change over time based on your spending habits.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
They
like
do.
I've been a free
Pretty
to play
crazy,
player
yeah.
forever, and these are the packs that like I am offered. Are you like even just 4 months in now that you've spent $500? Are you seeing like better or worse value than these
Uh,
offers that I've been getting?
They do a pretty good job of, you can't see maybe if you wanna move me, but, like, the number you see for each one of these packs, they try to scale the resources within the pack to match a higher price. So
Okay.
right now you're getting this starter pack. This isn't a good example. If you want to click on the monthly pack or something or the ultra mix, that scales with your purchasing history. So
Okay.
right now I'm at $30 for this, but like after I spend it jumps to 50.
Okay.
Because I don't spend the game doesn't think I spend a lot because I'm on accounts that spend a lot, and the game doesn't isn't always. Sometimes they're grading me as like they clearly have buckets they put players in,
Yeah.
and that's how the algorithm's deciding what to push. But like right now, you're getting like the smallest monthly pack, and then there's a 49.99 one. I've never bought it, but I want to say it's like maybe 7 1 and 5 or 7 2 and 6, something like that, with the order of those things. And they basically that's what they do. They have their pack templates and then they adjust the resources to match a price that they think they can get that player to spend. So
Okay.
like a big spender would not have the opportunity to get this like lower pack,
Right.
even if they wanted it, because they scale it to a higher bracket.
But the question is, do they scale equally? Like, do the resources and the like, does the resource to price ratio change as they scale up?
I just spent $60 last week. If you want, I can pop open the game and see what my monthly pack looks like. But
Sure.
gut, having looked at it, it feels like pretty in step. Like for
Okay.
example, the $60 I just spent, where they put out this anniversary energy pack, which if you're still available for you and you are a spender, it's the best deal I've seen in Raid. Um, and I know on my account, it was like you can buy it 5 times, and it was $30. It was 29.99. On the Kraken account I'm partnered with, it was 99.99, and you could buy it 5 times. Yeah, this was about a week ago. So they this is like a rotating trying to get you to do it. That's
Yeah.
another thing they do all the time. They do like these one day lockouts and then these like 2 to 3 day lockouts to try to tempt you. I just popped it open now. My monthly pack is back down to 30, unfortunately. Well, for the video, unfortunately. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna buy it regardless. I don't like the monthly pack at all.
Okay.
For my spending level. For
All
my
right. So,
spending
what do
level.
you like? That's a good question. What
Yeah.
purchases do you think are high value?
Cool. Yeah. So if you're in like I think it's easier to think about what kind of spender you are, like your budget. So if it's like up to 75, I think you should be the no-brainers, full stop, up to a certain point of your progression. That's like the two things you need to think about. The two main variables are how deep into the game are you, because that's going to determine what has value.
Yeah.
Because some of the things I bought the first few months have no value now, and things or the value shifts. And then what's your budget? So everyone should buy the gem pack. It's unbeaten. It's incredible. If you're going to spend any money, it's by far the best value. The next thing would be the Forge Pass. But I would say once you
Right.
become like late Endgame, if you're not hyper competitive, needing perfect Forge gear, then I think the value drops off a ton. But for anyone else, I think this is the second best purchase in the entire game. Full stop. You only see it when the Forge Pass goes
Yeah.
live, but a lot of I mean, I've been playing pretty you can imagine Colred like pretty min-maxy efficiently,
Right.
farming the right stuff. Still a lot of my best gear. Like I don't want to say majority, but like plurality of where gear comes from. This dungeon versus this dungeon versus this dungeon versus Doom Tower versus Forge Pack or versus Guild Boss. It's the Forge Pack by a lot.
Yeah, so I
Uh,
remember talking about this. Like, I already knew the Forge Pass was a good pass, but the thing about these special sets, like if we look at Bolster set, which is pretty high value, um, for a free to play player, if you complete the whole thing, which isn't a given, you have to be pretty active because you can only, I think you can miss something like 8 quests during the whole thing or something like that. You only get 75 of the legendary materials. So you can make 15 pieces of gear of 6-star gear potentially, and it's 5 or 6-star gear, right? So it's not even going to be all 6-star gear. You're going to get like 3 or 4 pieces of 6-star gear.
yeah.
And then you told me you got 1,500 pieces or something like that.
Uh, no, you got like 950 bolster gold pieces, and then you have
Okay,
extra of the blue and purple. So you can make 195, or maybe it's 109. Maybe you can make 190, and then you get the full 6 mythical pieces at the end. It's
right,
unbelievable.
yeah.
And they give you the gems for the forge as you go, or the is that what
So
you
it's
call it?
more than
Gems?
10 times, more than 10 times the number of materials.
It's oh yeah, it was
Plus you get
950.
you plus you get the 6-star
Yeah.
legendary
No,
pieces.
it's
Yeah,
unbelievable, and if you stock up like I do, because they give you some, and then I stock up in between knowing I have a Forge Pass coming, like, I'm sitting on a bunch of rank charms, rarity charms, and mythical. By the time the next Forge Pass finishes, I should have 100 of each, and I'm gonna put all of them to my Forge gear because 'cause I'm
yeah,
expecting it to be Slayer. But I would do it regardless because you
right.
can't and people, like, don't like Defiant. everyone I have is in Defiant because it's a 2-piece set. I have limited good gear. I got enough good pieces that might as well finish the set. Or what you see all the time, obviously this changes deeper into the game, but even where I'm at now, a broken piece, a lot of times it's Bolster, a lot of times it's Defiant, a lot of times it's Instinct.
Right.
Just those are the forge passes. Less and less nowadays, but I'd say the first year on your account, maybe it's a better value than the Gem Pass. Because on top of that, you get like the way if you go there where it says XP, where you have the 2x XP boost now, right underneath your cool avatar. Like you can have the raid card, which I just bought for the first time, which we can
Right.
talk about value, but then you get the Forge Pass, which adds up to a tremendous amount of XP.
Yeah.
And it's just a bonus, but you probably end up saving. Forge Pass costs $20. You probably end up saving well over $20 just worth of energy if you play consistently from the boost you get by the end, especially if it lines up with like a champ training tournament, which it did this past one, which was actually very nice with Polarium. And
Yeah.
then it feels like the whole Forge Pass was free. At least to me, that's what it felt like. So I think that value is immense. And I'll tell you, I'd have to be very deep in the game and have a very small budget to ever stop buying it.
Okay, so where's the raid pass? Where does that come from?
It's only available on mobile. I have it open. I can send you a pic.
Oh,
You want me to DM you a picture right now?
okay.
I just bought it for the first time. It's $10, $9.99. I never bought it. I did a lot of math on it my first month to figure out if I thought it was worth it or not. And it really just comes down to, are you going to farm a bunch of campaign? And as someone who's going to farm a bunch of campaign this month, I decided to get it and test it out. But yeah, if you're not, and especially deeper on in the game, I think this thing falls off a cliff, especially if you're someone that uses RSL Helper or something like that,
Right.
because like who cares about extra auto battles if you don't need
Yeah,
them?
yeah, yeah.
So it really, but I mean, it's a lot. Like it strictly is right. I'll read it to you, and maybe your editor can put it up. But it's 20% boosted XP and 20% boosted silver from campaign battles. If you do, I value my energy at a minimum of 200 energy per dollar. So if you're gonna do, what's the math there? 4,000 energy or more. Or am I do that right? Wait, hold on 1 second. Yeah, 4,000 energy or more. Um, you're gonna recoup. Or if you're gonna be able to save 4,000 energy or more. Sorry, my math's
Right,
such a
right.
disaster. Then it's gonna be worthy. So I guess that would come out to, would that be a 20% boost? So if you're planning to spend at least 20,000 energy in campaign, you're gonna get the boost, which is a ton.
Yeah, that's
But
a lot.
certain months, some people do that. I've had months. Last month I did that. This month, assuming there's going to be some big champ training event, which I anticipate at the end of the month, I'm learning enough about raid that I think it's coming. Then I think it's worth it. So I did it.
Yeah, but I would actually say, like, from my
Oh wait, I take
perspective,
that all back. Sorry, because it's $10. Sorry.
it's $10.
So as long as, yeah, I was doing the math for $20, right?
Okay.
Wait, was I? No, I wasn't. So
Wait,
no, I was.
wait,
I
wait.
was. I
So,
did 200. I did 200 times 20. It's 200 times 10.
yeah.
So you need to be able to save at least 2,000 energy, which means you need to be able to farm at least 10,000 energy in campaign. I really apologize for wasting the video's time.
No, that's okay.
But yeah. So like I 1,000% will spend 10,000 energy in the campaign this month. So I'm doing it.
Yeah. I think the
Because
other thing is actually just the extra silver. Like, silver is such a pain point in this game.
yeah.
And it's not that 20% extra silver is a lot, because it's like, man, you could triple the amount of silver that you give me in this game and I would still spend every last dime. Do you know what I mean? But anything to reduce that pain point a little bit, especially if you're getting all those extra forge pass materials and you have to roll up that gear, you're going to need the extra silver. Granted, you can also sell the pieces that are trash for extra silver. But yeah, okay. So
here's another point, and this is into my philosophy. Like the joy of spending is not, oh, I'm going to spend, then I gonna pull Duchess. Like it's not going to happen for almost all of you, at least
right.
unless you play the game for years, right? That's not how it's going to shake out. What it is the Forge Pass lets me do one less run for a lot of my level ups in campaign, and that is so convenient. And that's why I did it. And then the Forge Pass plus the raid card's another run, and then the raid card by itself right now with my level of no Forge Pass is another run. So there's a lot of different ways that can shake out, and that peace of mind is so worth $10, and then it ends up paying for itself anyway if you farm a lot.
Yeah, so it makes the game a little bit easier. And it's kind of interesting because so far what we've been talking about is actually spending from a really free to play mentality, right? Which is like, I'm spending something that gives me sort of it's not an imperceptible advantage, but it's an advantage that gets bigger
Less
over
fun
time.
advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the
It's
same
less
as like, good habits, good free to play habits end up like with the Forge Pass, with the raid pass with the daily gem pack, they also end up compounding this small value over time into big value. But so let's shift gears a little bit and then say, all right, those I've heard that before. I've heard about those things before.
Yeah,
But
sure.
let's talk about like one-time purchases, especially early in your account, because I know you've done that analysis, right? So
Yeah.
if you were going to say, hey, I'm going to splurge, I'm going to spend $150 a month. It's my birthday, it's Christmas, my wife gave me a, whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, so now I can just do a big purchase, but I've never done that before because I've always been spending, $10 here, $20 there. Where is there like value in just splashing out a little bit of cash?
Uh, the good ones, you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so it depends on your account level, but undeniably the best splashy purchase you can make is the Prism packs, in my opinion, the $50 Prism
Oh,
pack.
okay.
Yeah, to me that's been unbeaten. If you do it enough, you're gonna hit, and you got to pick the pool. But I've gone in on 3 pools, and like my worst result was still really helped my account. I got Hotatsu, and that was like definitely worth it, in the
Right.
grand scheme of things as a spender, among other things. That's not all I got, but yeah, you can get for $50, you can get 210 Prism crystals, which is either it can be it's either 35 or 40, so it's either 5 or 6
That's
summons, and
5
if you can
summons,
pick
yeah.
some other stuff. Yeah, so it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Prism packs,
There
and
was a
and so
there
those are
was
what,
a
50? Did you said it's $50?
Yeah, and you can think of them as sacred shards, but to me they're even better if you like the pool, right? So
Right.
you're and getting sacred shards for $10 is nearly impossible outside of the level 7 packs. Also I hate buying sacred shards.
Okay.
I would never do it. I've technically done it twice. I'm looking at it here, but those were both specific things I can explain if you want. But yeah, the prison packs, if you like a pool, like when they had not the anniversary now, this is the Plarium anniversary. When they had the raid anniversary pool, it
Yeah.
was only studs. It was only studs. And then last month they did the blue pool, the magic only pool, which like I hit a home run on, but also that pool was just crazy.
Yeah.
And the only other pool I went on was the dwarf pool, which for my account at my level was like it was month 1, I think. Let's see, month 2, and I didn't have Geomancer. I got it was like day 30, and then I got Geomancer from that pool. I got a
And
Geomancer
you love
Morag,
dwarves too, so that's a thing.
and I loved it's my favorite
Yeah.
faction. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but if you pick a good pool, and I'd say you have a budget of at least $100, if there's a good pool, spending $50 on those 210 is really good because there's
Okay.
2 ways to look at it, right? So if it's $40, that's sorry, not $40. If it's 40 crystals for that pool, they change the amount it costs for a summons. If it's 40 crystals, that's 5 pulls. And then if you do it 4 times, you get an extra one, right? Over a year, maybe you do 4 pools. But then also, like the dwarf pool was 35. So that ended up being really good, right? So 210 at 35 was exactly 6 pulls.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting because one of the ways to, think about money to like advantage is how much does it cost you to get a champion, right? Like how much does it actually cost you for a champion? And so what you're saying there is, if you're doing 5 pulls for $50, you're actually getting 5 champions. But like you said, if it's all good champions, a good
Yeah.
champion for $10, a good epic for $10 feels in raid terms pretty good value, right? And then if you happen
I
to
mean, a great epic, one great epic is worth $50 by the way raid sets up their
right,
economy, in my
exactly.
opinion. Yeah.
Exactly. And then if you happen to, luck into one of the stud legendaries that you're talking about, like a good legendary is worth much more than the $50 you spent on the pack. In raid terms, I'm not saying in personal terms,
Yeah.
but I'm saying in raid
Yeah, for
terms,
sure.
that feels like pretty good value. Okay, so I like that. I mean, I don't love it, but I like that we're
Yeah.
we're thinking about it in those terms. So is there something else like that you've discovered kind of, in terms
Yeah.
of if you're going to
The
splash a little
final, like
cash?
the final like bookend to that though is there's undeniably a point in your account where it stops becoming a value. Because if you
Sure.
can't find value in the epics, if so for me, every time I've gone in on a pool, I'm like, I want 8 out of these 10 epics. They're gonna
Right.
like even the one, there's only 2 that could disappoint me. And if I'm gonna pull 5 times, you end up hitting 3 or 4, or maybe you hit that legendary.
Yeah.
Everyone reaches a point. If you don't find value in the epics and you're gambling because you want to get Armons on the magic Prism pack, you can do that, but get ready to spend $1,000, not $50.
Yeah.
Or
And
$2,000.
and to be fair, I could see that like there's an evil side to this, right? Which is like you are in fact fixated on that one legendary or 2 legendaries.
Yeah.
And so you want to buy as many of these and you spend way, way, way more. And still, you got to remember it's RNG. Like you said before, you are still pulling, you know, it's a
Yeah.
one-armed bandit kind of thing, and you never know what you're actually going to get. And even like, I think Saphira has done like the math on this in terms of like, if you have a 15 times chance, what's your actual chance of getting a champion? If you're on the 25 times progressive,
Yeah.
what's your
I've
actual
done the
chance of
math
getting
on
a
it
champion?
too. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, and it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Like, you know, you just think,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to pull 150 times. There's no way I don't hit Armand. And it's like, yeah, actually 70% of people who do what you are doing are
For
going to
sure. Yeah.
miss, you know, and that just can be a slippery slope. But if you're early in an account and you're going to splash a little
Exactly.
cash, this could be really valuable and I could see it. So, okay,
If you
is
can
there anything?
identify
No, go
if you
ahead.
can identify X number of epics that would bring you joy, then it's huge because that's actually the
Yeah.
most fun purchasing I had. Like that last Magic one, I was like, if I can just get one of these epics and like one of them was Sea Hulk, and then I did, but then I had four more and I hit Rotos and Brogni. You're like, whoa, I hit the lottery, right? That's
Right.
how it felt. It was
Yeah.
amazing. But if you're
Yeah.
prepared to be satisfied by just the one or two epics, then it's good to go. But
Right.
clearly, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whenever, there's a point you should really stop unless you have a big budget.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say like as you're progressing, is there something else that you think actually maybe holds its value a little bit better for the long term? Are there any purchases like that, or is it just kind of like there's always a diminishing return? Because first of all,
Energy.
as you here's the thing from my perspective, as you collect champions, that means the pool of champions that you don't have is smaller, and that means you have to spend more for each new champion that you get. And that's going to continue to ramp up until you're at the point where it's like the only champions you're missing are the extremely new powerful champions that they're putting out,
Yeah.
but you have to spend 50 times what you used to spend to get them. That's what it feels
Yeah.
like to me. So
On my account with Larry, the last Sidious account,
yeah.
we're only missing Nell. And like we're pulling primals constantly trying to get Nell and we can't get Nell. And like it sucks. It's like he's spending $2,000 at a time every time we sit down trying to get Nell. And it's crazy. Like we're in the casino for sure.
So let me just ask you this question then. If you pulled Nell during the next $2,000 spree, how much
I'll
will
beg you
Nell
to
have?
stop.
How much will Nell have
We
cost?
have costs. Oh my god. Well, think of it. We pulled like +4 nice along the way and crazy
Right, right.
things, right? But if you're viewing it just for Nell, I mean, Nell's gonna end up costing us over 10K probably, but
Yeah, so
maybe
you go
more.
from
We'll see how long it
$10
takes.
for a Geomancer
Yeah,
to
it's crazy. It's crazy.
$10,000
Yeah,
for
it's
a
crazy.
Nell.
It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all about your if I would never ever suggest anyone go champ hunting if they have a budget under $500 a month, and frankly, I'd probably put it at like 1,000. So you want to talk what holds value is energy. That's all I buy right now outside of like the monthly deals and the Forge Pass and the Gem pack, and I'm trying out the raid card right now to see how I like that. And if I end up liking the raid card, I'm probably going to buy the 6 month raid card for the little discount.
Okay.
But energy, it's hard. The energy deals are terrible. You could probably look right now. Maybe yours are okay. You'll have to go to the limited offers. But I mean, these things are terrible. Like
Oh, here's one.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean this one, let's see. Yeah, so this is coming out to 1650 and the 9 is gonna be what is that? That's 900 plus 270, so 1170. So let's just 1720. We're talking 2820. Does that sound right? I think that sounds right. For $15. This isn't even a bad
Oh,
offer.
yeah.
That's how terrible this is. The one right next to me over here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so it used to be, if you look it up, I think on the Hell Hades website, or maybe it's Smiley's conversion, they used to value it to be like you want to get 300 energy per dollar. Never will happen. Ever.
Wow.
Impossible. You won't find it. I check every energy. Well, less now because I know what to look for. But the first couple months, I was checking every energy pack because I was immediately over summons. If we want to take one moment to talk about what not to buy, I really hate buying summons. Prisms are the only thing I buy.
Okay.
The only exception has been when you hit level 7, you can get sacreds pretty cheap, which I don't do anymore. But I did like my first 2 times because it helps you with fusions. I bought it as fusion currency, not as I'm gonna go pull Armons.
When
Right?
you hit
That's
account
how
level
I buy.
7?
When you hit account level 7, they give you for 24 hours, the first time you log in after hitting account level 7, they give you sacreds for between, depends how early on in the account you are, but between like $7.50 and $12.50, which
Okay.
is like really cheap for sacreds, which is shocking because they suck.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I hate doing that, but buying energy, if you can find the price, which is where I've put all my energy now in hunting deals, That's what you want to do. And I found 220 feels pretty reasonable. And I'm not saying that's good, but giving the rate economy they set for you, how can you make your money last? If you can get better, do it. Those packs I just bought, those anniversary packs were crazy. I think I was getting like 270. That's why I doubled up. If I had $500 budget, I would have bought all 5 of them, you know? But I just thought content wise, it'd be a little lame to buy. I could have
Yeah.
spent my whole 150 on that, which is kind of what I wanted to do. But then I always make the consideration, but what if the Forge Pass comes? What if a Champ Pass comes? Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. I mean, energy obviously requires that you play the game. So it's like if you're buying those packs, that means you want to set up your RSL helper, or you've got to be there playing the game more hours. Um, Now, one of the things I was just flipping through these, and I was like, one of the things that I've heard kind of a disagreement about is buying these artifact sets. Now, my impression is that they're awful. My impression is that
Yeah.
they're really bad value. That being said, I know that people who are big spenders feel like there's no way you can, like, it's not efficient to farm. And so, not even that this is a bolster set, but like if this were speed, like it's so inefficient to farm speed from Dragon that they'll just buy 6-star like
Yeah.
legendary gear over and over and over again. They'll buy the maximum number that they can because that's the only way they can accumulate the number of pieces that they need in order to get actually god tier gear.
Yeah. For speed, there's no better purchase for a Kraken.
Oh, really?
Like unless you've got the very well developed account that has a bunch of quads and you're onto
Yeah.
supersonic and merciless and that, you know, the top tier stuff only. But for like any kind of like not endgame Kraken, buying this, yeah, because there's no other value in Dragon, right?
Yeah.
So you'll actually, it is better that it's better to it's cheaper to do this than to gamble. Like you're gambling with the energy. Rather do the singular gamble with this, get the 6 pieces and just get it done with.
But
Because
if you're
sometimes
not a Kraken,
never, of course, never,
right.
never, never.
So it's
No.
like it's a
No, no,
binary
no. To
thing. Yeah.
buy this, it's I mean, does it have a yeah, to buy this, it's only valuable, in my opinion, to buy 5 of them, which
Yeah.
is $150. So I'd be spending my whole budget. It's unthinkable. But if your budget's $2,000 a month, absolutely, I think.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but this for a I thought that that was no, for a normal player, it's unthinkable. Don't touch it. You're crazy.
Okay, and then finally, because we've been going along, it's really fascinating to me to see that world. Because like I know that you're having this experience where you're doing your bowling on a budget, but you're also playing Lastidius, which is a very different spending experience, and so you have
Yeah.
these two different spending worlds.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you said to me before we started recording is if you are, and I guess you alluded to it before, if you are like at the end game, there's only really one like purchase that you want to buy, and that's primal
Yeah.
shards, right? You just want to go all in
Yeah.
on the primal
So
shards.
if you're at towards like the late end game and you have it's only if you have a good budget though. I still wouldn't do it with my smaller budget. And I take that back. If I was at $150 a month and I actually was end game, I would only buy primal shards. That's true.
Okay.
But I'd have to actually be end game. And I think I'd accurately make that evaluation. But also if I was actually end game, like maybe I'd just get over it and not like just know I'm not going to get any mythicals. But I would say the only value as you get deep in the game, because you know this, you've beaten most of the game, and free to play people have beaten the entire game. The only differentiating thing is PvP, and the only way to excel really there is live arena, and you're cooked
Yeah.
without mythicals and blessings. So what it evolves into, and this is why I think people should check their spending. This will be at the end of the video, so Plarium won't see this, but I mean, they said I can say whatever I want. Like, what are you spending for? What are you spending for? You will never compete with these people, ever.
Yeah.
So you should be spending strictly for your joy, nothing more, unless you're Larry and our last Sidious account, where the budget has essentially been endless. I won't get into numbers,
Yeah.
but you can use your imagination. It has been infinite because our whole goal is to get to live arena, and it's within the realm, right? But everyone else, you're just bum rushing the game. So if you truly love the game, you're speeding up your experience. The game's going to get a lot more boring, a lot faster. Your
Yeah.
wins are going to feel a lot less valuable, a lot faster. You know, you're going to get to the point where you pull I mean, I'm trying to think of a good example. You know, you could pull a Duchess and not be happy pretty fast if you
Yeah.
spend too much, right? And then what are we doing anymore, right? So I just think really evaluate why you are doing it, because you're going to speed up your experience and you're not going to make any progress. You're never going to catch up to people that have been spending for 5 years or have been spending for 1 year but have spent $500,000 unless you're
Right.
willing to do that. And you shouldn't be willing to do that. And even if you do that, Larry's having a blast with the game. We're having a blast with the account. Somehow he can afford it. I won't get into that, but like it's it's already in 120 days, obviously enormous amounts of spending. But this is what someone might accomplish with heavy spending over a couple of years, which a lot of people would reach this point.
Yeah.
There's nothing left. We're hunting one mythical. It's Nell. And then we need 6-star souls. Our 5-star souls are boring. It's like that's all it is. So it's like, and the souls are the saddest slot machine in the world, man. I hate it more than anything. Like it is a horrible, not fun experience, and that's what it all is narrows into. And what's going to happen is, even if right now you decide, all right, I'm going to commit to spending 30K a month and I want to catch up in half a year, 2 years, whatever that budget's going to allow you to catch up. You're still not, even with that, you can spend $50,000 a month. You're not going to catch up in a year or 2 years with the very top, but you could get into the top ish. Right. But then they're going to introduce void mythicals anyway. So you're back to square one.
Right. Of course. So
Yeah.
so that actually is the next question I had. I get one of my last questions is like, what do you think? Let's say I wanted to hit top 100 live arena like as quickly as possible. What's the timeline and what's the dollar amount I would have to spend, in your opinion?
So the problem with that is the 9-piece sets.
Okay.
In my opinion, because the top 100 players will have been spending a ton of money, probably having multiple people running the accounts in live arena. So you got to compete with that level of intensity. And almost all of them are going to be older accounts. So they're going to have very well developed lethal and then really, really good Amius stuff, right? Which me and Larry can't buy our way there, right? So his speed gear is about as good as someone that's been playing for many years at this point, just because
Okay.
we're running Dragon nonstop. It's not God tier, but there's a lot of quads, right? And he's got a lot of perfect 6-star boots with really good other substats too. But that's kind of where we put our priority, because it's like, yeah, his account's 4 months old. It's a lot less feral. He's a lot less Amius. This is only the first rotation we've been able to farm lethal. He's maxed it every day, but I mean, how many lethal rotations does that put him behind you or Boozer, free to play guys? Now fold in all the pay to win champions. So the gear, I think, makes it fairly prohibitive. I would think it would still take years.
Wow.
What could expedite it? Would be if they added the next better sets. So then you'd be starting at the same spot as everyone else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That would be the way that a new spender could catch in. But I'll tell you, like, I would think to have the champion quality, if you spent $300,000, maybe, I don't know, 200 to $300,000, probably. It depends on your luck.
Wow.
Because you're gonna want all the meta mythicals, and you're not gonna want them to be 0.
Yeah.
And they're gonna need 5-star souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it's just, I guess I don't even want to say it's fun to think about, because it's not fun. It's like, it hurts me to think about, but at the same time, it is a different world. And I think, what you said before, which is, if you are a spender, if you are a moderate spender, even if you're like a whale, you want to think about what you're actually trying to do with your money, because you're not going to catch those people, because you're not spending enough. They're spending more than you, and they're already their time investment is ahead of you as well. So realistically, spend for what makes you happy. Like, spend for what gives you an experience that feels good to you after you've done it. Not, what I hate is when people are like, oh, I spent $1,000 and it was really exciting, but then a week later I was like sad that I spent it, because I shouldn't have, because it didn't give me as much joy as it would have been to spend it elsewhere. And that's important. But this has been fascinating for me, Fasty. So definitely go check out Fastidious's channel. Also his website, fastidious.gg. He's got a great fusion tracker. I actually highlighted that in a video yesterday. And then we did a collab on his channel, so you should go check that out as well. Is there anything else you want to say today to the folks? Could be about spending, or could just be about anything that you're doing?
Yeah, well, I guess 2 things. One plug is the Last Ace account. We stream twice a week at least, doing live arena, and it's a pretty unique situation because the account is like insane, but it's really young, so it's like a cool climb to watch, I think. but like we just pulled a +4 nice, so that was pretty nice.
Nice.
And it's crazy. And okay, two more things. One, voids. If you have a huge budget, really good because the progressives actually work because it's such a limited pool. Anything but voids, please never do progressives. You could easily spend $5,000 and come up empty-handed, very, very easily.
Yeah.
Like more likely than not in certain cases, depending on what you're going for. And finally, yeah, just remember why you're spending because like cool, you got Wixwell on a progressive, and now you're done with Demon Lord. So now there's a piece of content you'll never engage with and have to click the button for every day.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a lot of the joy is like you like to say, it's solving the puzzle, right?
Right.
And if you just make it too easy to solve the puzzle, you're running out of puzzles to solve, and then you're just grinding that gotcha life.
Yeah.
So that's
All
what you
right.
want.
Good advice. Good points. All right. Thanks for being here, man. This was a lot of fun for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, go check out our collab on Fasty's channel. And you want to do the outro too? Do you know how to do the outro or no?
I'm gonna mess it up because we didn't rehearse. I know what you do, but I'm not gonna.
Well, you did the intro so well, but I'll do the outro. He has been Fastidious. I have been Colred. Thanks so much for hanging out. We will see you in another video soon.